Hi, how are you guys?
Doing great, Coach. And first and foremost, thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule to join us. We know this is an extremely busy time of year as you get your team prepared for the upcoming season. So we appreciate your time.
No problem. Happy to be here. My voice is a little under the weather, so forgive my scratchiness, but we'll make it work.
Oh, no problem at all, Coach. We're just happy to have you. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement previewing the 2022-2023 edition of the Texas Southern Lady Tigers.
We're gonna keep it simple. Our goal is to be competitive. I asked this team when I first met them, what did they want their characteristic to be? And they said they wanted to be competitors. So that's what our goal is to be able to compete with anybody that we stand in front of.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. We'll now open up for questions for Coach Skeete. First question goes to Charles Hallman.
Good afternoon, Coach.
Good afternoon.
Charles Harmon, Minnesota spokesman recorder. Want to ask if you could speak on the series that's being announced, that was announced about the SWAC and the Pac-12, and that you will be playing a team that has a Black female head coach as well, and how important or how significant that is, especially in these days of you playing against a Power 5 school with a Black female head coach, as opposed to always playing HBCUs and you are always going against Black female head coach.
Um, as far as going against, I think Coach, she's doing a phenomenal job down there. Our job is to put a good product out, and not just to be in the room and be around and say, Black coach versus Black coach, or HBCU versus Black. But our goal is to put a product out that people want to watch and people enjoy. So regardless of the matchup of what issues that come arise in between it, I think the more that we focus on putting a good game together, it's going to grow the game. And that's really all we want. We want the exposure for our kids, we want the opportunity to grow the game, put a good product out there and make sure it's competitive.
Thank you very much. Congratulations on your your season, and take care of your throat.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Next question goes to Mark Berman.
Hey, Coach Skeete, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
So what have been the challenges and the keys for you to installing your culture the way you want to do things in your first year?
Um, I don't know if there were challenges. I don't really believe can't say challenges. It's something that I've faced because these kids were hungry and they wanted and they accepted. Understanding process, maybe more of a word that I would use or phrase. Them understanding what it takes. There's no such thing as a bad kid or a bad, everybody really wants to be good. Everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to achieve, but the process that it takes to get up the mountain, nobody naturally wants to be lazy. We condition ourselves. We have environmental compromises that allow us to do things that are negative to productivity. So I think just the inspiration of showing what it takes, and so that we weren't like Care Bears walking on clouds, like, we want to win. Well, so does everybody. What are you going to do different? What will you do different outside of what was done last year in your position? If you don't have a goal or a desire to do something different in your position than the person ahead of you, you can't expect a different result. So maybe understanding and having a vision, thank God, of laying out the difference of what it actually takes versus saying, okay, start. And then they look around and be like, oh, I didn't know it was going to be this hard. We really talked. We called it plugging the gaps this summer. We talked a lot about what it actually took, what it looked like, how different it was, how our motives had to match our goals, because you say you want that, but then your motives don't show that. I should be able to see your goals based on the motives, based on what you do. I should be able to recognize, and that should be able to correlate. And so we talked a lot about that this summer. And so I think the challenge, if we say challenge, will be who sticks to it in the roughest parts. But everybody's bought in right now, so we're in a good place.
Thank you, Coach.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBC Sports Lab. How has the transition been thus far?
In which way transition from what you said? Well, like head coach,
Just come
conference, like
just coming into the program in terms of meeting your players and getting things moving towards the culture that you want to establish with the program?
I've been lucky. I think I've always, I've had really good bosses, Katie Meyer down at the University of Miami, Carolyn Keeger, one of my close and dear friends down at Penn State. Like I've always operated as a head coach, and they've allowed me in that space and whatever I had. So it wasn't a hard transition because I've kind of been building this for a while. So it was more of a layout. Once I established what my goals were and I established what this team's desire was, and we were able to be on the same page, things just kind of, I looked up one day and I felt I was ahead, Now, the process is the process. You can't plant the apples and eat, you can't plant the seeds and eat the apples overnight. It takes time to grow, so we're in growing stage.
Right.
To see how it's going to develop, to make sure we put enough water, to make sure, but other than that, I'm really principle based. I try to take the fluff out of things. Give me 110%, or you can't be here. It's like, well, you only have 100, so we're not gonna talk about that. Like that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, give me what you
To
have.
compute, yes, mathematically,
so,
it don't work.
We take all of that out, and so we try to just be principle based. Feed, water, like the laws of growth everywhere in Africa, in Afghanistan, in water, sunlight. It's simple. It doesn't, we try to take all the complicated analogies and all of this out, work hard, be disciplined, be structured, come here hungry. I'm not asking for much more. And so they've been able to prescribe to that. And we've been growing.
Thank you, Coach Skeete. To the
You're
SWAC. Good luck this evening.
Thank you very much.
Next question goes to Charles Bishop. Charles, I believe you're on mute.
Sorry about that. How you doing, Coach Skeete?
I'm good. How are you?
I wanted to ask, you've been on various staffs and you talked about building this process, but I wanted to ask, was there any specific thing that you've brought from your experience that you hope to bring to Texas Southern?
Everything, because everything helps you have vision to prepare. I don't think I left anything. One of the greatest things that my head coach, she was a phenomenal woman when I was at JUCO. Her name was Rooney Scoville. She's a legend in her own right. She said, it's better to learn the things that you shouldn't do before you learn the things that you should. And so I've had a lot of those opportunities where I've learned things that probably weren't the best things. And then I work backwards from that. So you're creating an environment of safety for these kids. My biggest thing was not to cheat them. So I don't look at it as like conference. It came to a different conference or lower or higher, or, I came to like, my goal is the kids that say yes, that want to play for me, their experiences are cheated. Now can't find a private jet everywhere, but the plane ride that we're on or the bus is going to be filled with joy. It's going to be filled with discipline. It's going to have principle. The experience will not be cheated. So that's what I brought with me more than anything, is making sure that all of the wisdom and experiences that I have, I don't cheat their experience.
And a quick follow-up, what type of style are you bringing to the court with regards to this Texas Southern team?
Well, when you see our style of play, it's going to be interesting because it's kind of how my mind works. We're kind of written and revamped. I think everybody borrows a lot. Having the beauty of being able to play, in the Big East and, the ACC, the Big Ten, the SEC, I love the things that I loved about the Big East was their free flowing movement. And I always say, man, we had the best offense in the Big East, maybe not the talent of the kids in the SEC and the ACC, but blending an offense that made you think. So I call my offense, I know people have had like a read and react, but my flux offense is considered feel and flow. That's how I'm teaching my kids to think and to move in sync with each other. And so it is some type of reaction, but you're flowing together. It's not like, oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do this. We're flowing. Anything can happen. Anything can occur. If you have the ability to take your man one-on-one, we can flow and we can move around and we can fill the space in his off. And so that's really what, I'm teaching them to play basketball in any court, in any aspect, in any style.
Okay, sure thing. Appreciate that, Coach.
You're welcome.
Last question goes to Gardner.
Thank you very much, Coach Skeete. How you doing? Chris Gardner, Houston
Hey,
Round
Chris,
Bar
how you
Review.
doing?
I'm doing great. My question is, how has recruiting gone for you? How is it going for you? And what kind of student athlete are you looking for your program?
Mm, Well, it's a good question. We kind of got blessed in the sense of we were able, just with the transfer portal and everything. I know a lot of people went after those kids who were hiding out there and, last year grad transfers. And when I sat down with my staff, I said, let's think differently. So we went after the freshmen who weren't getting enough love. So we snuck in and got some really talented kids that probably wouldn't have looked at our level originally. But they were still out there, and we expressed to them what the Tiger Way was and what we're trying to do in our vision. And so we got really lucky in that aspect that we have a very young team, but a lot of promise. So the buildup is going to be great in the future. And as a result of that, we only have 2 scholarships that we need to replace. So we're taking our time with that. Not in a huge rush. I think winning takes care of recruiting. So that's our biggest focus right now, is making sure that we put a good product out there. But the kids, the character, I mean, the Tiger Way, anybody that can prescribe to the Tiger Way and come in and work hard and have a competitor's mindset, that's what we're looking for. We're replacing some experience, so we've got to have kids that come in and play right away. So we're looking at a small group of people, and we'll see how it kind of flows from there.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach Skeete, we sincerely appreciate your time. Welcome to the conference and good luck this season.
Thank you. Can't wait to continue to talk to all of you guys.
Thank you.